All right, Colin, let's start with the Raiders. They made big news over the weekend. Clint Kubiak will be their next head coach. That's become official according to every reporter in the NFL. The deal won't be finalized until after the Super Bowl, but Kubiak has interviewed multiple times. I think this is a pretty damn good job for him.
I actually, for the first time since I can remember, I think they have the GM, the coach, and by late April, the quarterback.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to say that about the Raiders. I thought Pete Carroll would stabilize it, but I still thought they were a mess at quarterback. This league is overwhelmingly GM, coach, quarterback. I mean, you can have a lot of flaws, right? You don't have to be great everywhere. If you get the head coach right, the quarterback right, and they also, I mean, they probably have to get another weapon, but they've got a couple of really interesting players. So I don't think I've been this positive about the Raiders. I don't think this is a stabilizing move. I think this is eventually a winning move. Because we both love Mendoza.
Oh.
And remember, Mendoza means 5 years of stacking your roster. So like the Bears did, even though it's a number one pick, you think, oh, you pay him a lot. Look at the Bears roster. I mean, Ben Johnson came in after they had already added like DJ Moores and said, give me Joe Tooney and Drew Dahlman and Jonah Jackson. And so you're going to get a they can go buy an offensive line with Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, they have
Colton
the
Miller,
second most cap space in the league.
so we both love Colton Miller, left tackle. Just go buy the rest of the offensive line. Mendoza, Brock Bowers, draft. I don't think their defense is as bad as people say. I think the whole thing was a mess. But
there's not a ton of, like, blue chip talent on the defense after Crosby. There just isn't.
There isn't.
No.
But if you have to have one piece on your defense that works, it's a pass rusher. But you could go buy left guard, center, right guard.
You also need some weapons. Now, this draft is loaded with wide receivers. Listen, they're not going to make a leap. Like, by the way, the two teams in the Super Bowl were not in the playoffs last year.
They're not going to make a New England leap.
No.
But they are going to make a New England roster improvement leap. This roster is going to be very good after that draft.
Yeah.
All right, listen. Recall that Drake May was already in the NFL for, this was his sophomore season. You're introducing an established coaching staff, all of that. For the Seattle Seahawks, that required several years for them to construct. And Mike McDonald had been a coach for several years as well. So, you simply have to contextualize that here. But it still emphasizes how rapidly all of these circumstances can transform. Yet, I am tremendously enthusiastic for the Las Vegas Raiders supporters. I am so thrilled for you all. I genuinely, truly am. The Raiders are, without any question, one of the most fervent, most passionate fan bases you could ever encounter. That was profoundly accurate with some of my initial Raiders videos I ever produced, where I was simply like, whoa, what in the world is this right now? I was genuinely astonished. And it has been such a disappointment that this franchise has been inconsequential. They have been inconsequential. That is simply the reality of the circumstance, and they recognize it. They have been inconsequential. That concludes. That is absolutely concluding. They are not overcomplicating matters. They are because individuals are attempting to suggest like, oh, they should appoint this coach. They should appoint that coach. Kubiak, he's never been a head coach before, and I don't know. Mendenhall isn't truly that exceptional of a professional. It's like, no, they are securing the coach. They are securing the quarterback. They are inaugurating a new epoch for Snorts, this Raiders squad. And they are positioning themselves not merely for the upcoming year. Honestly, the next year is immaterial. It is the year following, the year after that, the year after that. It is the subsequent 5, 6, 7 years. And it is just so thrilling. You should be so remarkably optimistic and thrilled if you are a Las Vegas Raiders enthusiast. Unquestionably. It does not signify that next year you are now going to capture the Super Bowl, because processes require time. But I am convinced that you now possess the coach. You have your coach for the next 2 decades plus. You have your quarterback for the next, who can say 15 years, 20, whatever. You have it, you have it, you have it, you have it. And it is phenomenal. It is phenomenal. Before I proceed further, Las Vegas Raiders fans, please do not neglect to subscribe and view the entire duration of the video. When you subscribe while watching this exact video, it is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the optimal method to foster the expansion of this channel so I can continue producing the finest Las Vegas Raiders material that I can. But, oh, I am so thrilled. I am so thrilled because it is another franchise now that we get to incorporate into the conversation that we get to persistently discuss. The NFL is superior when we have better teams within it. It is a letdown when we have these teams that we simply state, well, the Raiders aren't accomplishing anything. Well, the Commanders aren't accomplishing anything. Well, the Browns aren't accomplishing anything. I do not desire that. That is terrible. That is so vexing. Oh, the Chiefs are competing against the Commanders, the Raiders. And I must elucidate to everyone why that contest signifies nothing to me. And why, the fact that the Chiefs prevailed by 30 or whatever signifies nothing to me because the Raiders are insignificant. That is a disappointment. That is not enjoyable. And when the Raiders defeat the Chiefs, you desire to be capable of explaining it in a manner that is like, yes, because the Raiders are excellent. Not simply because, well, the Chiefs delivered a subpar performance. Well, every team can defeat any team on any given Sunday. It is like, no, it is because the Raiders are a phenomenal team. That is the reason. And that is what we are embarking upon presently. That is what we are embarking upon presently. And it is exhilarating. It is exhilarating. I am going to be so intensely focused on this Raiders team, and I am attempting to conceive of a decent illustration of what this team can achieve. A decent comparison. I incline toward Clear's throat. I believe it is going to somewhat depend, because you are in a challenging division. Some of it will depend on whether Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs rebound. But I think probably what is a bit more realistic would be reminiscent of Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles in 2021, where there was like some aspects, some thrilling aspects to support, some intriguing developments unfolding, qualified for the playoffs, but not in a manner where you were like, this team is about to dominate entirely and, pursue it vigorously. Defeated in the playoffs, lost to the Buccaneers, lost to Tom Brady, and then the subsequent year, we are in the Super Bowl. I believe that is a more realistic chronology than what we just witnessed with the New England Patriots or something, or, what we even observed with, because I am ambivalent between that, because I think that is, one side or the other side is more of a Jaden Daniels Washington Commanders scenario, first-year rookie. I would have to observe how the draft progresses. I would have to see what they execute defensively, coaching, etc. But remember that Commanders team was able to capitalize on a collapsing Cowboys team. A collapsing Giants team, correct? Like even for them. And that is why the Commanders that year were such a captivating year, because Jaden Daniels performed unbelievably, arguably had the finest rookie season of his, of all time. And yet even that team required favorable fortune approaching them to even be in a position to even possess that. Jalen Hurts sustains an injury. The Cowboys were not proficient. The Giants were not proficient. Like you require that is not what the Commanders will necessarily be able to benefit from, at least within their own division. So you will have to observe somewhat like the scheduling, who else they are competing against, how all that unfolds. Because even to have one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time and have a rookie quarterback guide you to an NFC championship game, you still require numerous elements to proceed in your favor. You still require a lot of favorable fortune. You require a Hail Mary, correct? You require the Super Bowl winning quarterback to sustain a concussion in the initial quarter. You still require a multitude of elements to proceed your direction, and those are just always going to be impossible to forecast. Impossible to forecast? So, I am thrilled. Rather than attempting to predict how swiftly they will achieve success and what the next season can resemble, I think this is merely more that a sentiment that the Raiders should emerge from circumstances are going to alter. Circumstances are altering. Our ownership is in a superior position. Our general manager is in a superior position. Our coaching staff is going to be in a superior position. Our players are going to be in a superior position. And we now possess incredibly crucial components, whether it is Brady's influence and involvement with ownership, general manager, coaching, staff, quarterback. You just have such vital components on the board now, and the remainder will simply be some astute maneuvers, some luck in the draft and free agency, and luck with health. And then it is just at a minimum, you are going to be a proficient team and no longer just a team where you are simply why even bother? So at a minimum, you are a team where you are all right, there is some energy here. There is some excitement here. We can contend for the division. We can contend for, even if it is a wild card, we can secure the 5th seed. And then I favor us confronting the 4th seed. I believe we can triumph in that contest or whatever. You are actually in a position where you are all right. And then obviously, the ideal is you ascend even higher than that. You are contending for the second seed, the first seed, etc. But like you are just in a position to finally be pertinent, to finally signify, to finally take that stride forward and furnish us a rationale to actually watch the Las Vegas Raiders and not just, well, the team that we are actually intrigued by just so happens to be competing against the Las Vegas Raiders. So I think it is exhilarating. And the final point I will express is, and this is what I articulated before, and if it concludes being the incorrect maneuver, you can retire for the night cognizant that, or if it does not succeed, you can retire for the night cognizant that it was the correct maneuver. It was the correct decision. You did not attempt to become excessively clever. You did not attempt to become excessively intelligent. You did not attempt to state, well, actually, if we execute this and accomplish that and this and that, if we acquire Todd Monken and we introduce him and we trade Mendenhall and then we obtain a plethora of draft capital and then we will get. And it is like, no, you are executing the correct decisions. You are executing the correct maneuvers. You are being intelligent, and if it does not succeed, then it is just the NFL is merely unpredictable. And it was, just is what it is. So I think this is all intelligent. I think this is all affirmative, and I think this is all thrilling, and I think Raiders fans should be just overjoyed with excitement presently. Those are merely my reflections. I would absolutely adore to hear yours. What do you all contemplate regarding the Las Vegas Raiders anticipated to formally employ Clint Kubiak? Something that we all anticipated was going to occur. The sole method that was not going to occur from my perspective was if Kubiak was like, I am going to remain in Seattle, because then that was him simply being like, I do not desire anything to do with Las Vegas. But he does. He does. So that is exhilarating. But inform me of your reflections. I read each and every comment. So you concur with me or dispute with me. Either way, let us engage in some discussions. Let us engage in some debates. But ultimately, let us simply derive some enjoyment. Please do contemplate subscribing. We are constructing an amazing community here, and I absolutely adore to observe you part of it. I desire to construct something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we are genuinely enthusiastic to be part of. I believe we are well on our path to accomplishing it. And please do not neglect to award this video a thumbs up, as it genuinely assists the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so profoundly. I will see you next time. Next.